There are moments in WWE history when time seems to freeze. Moments when the past, the present, and the future of a legacy hang in the balance. And tonight, the Bloodline, a faction forged in Samoan pride, forged in dominance, forged in family, has come to such a crossroads. For months now, we've watched the house that Roman Reigns built begin to shake under the weight of betrayal, pride, and power. Solo Sikoa, once the silent enforcer, has emerged as a feared and unpredictable force. Cobb, the brute from NJPW, was welcomed into the family fold, but his loyalty was never tested, until now. But what happened last night didn't just test loyalties, it shattered them. What we witnessed wasn't just a betrayal. It was the systematic destruction of everything the Bloodline represented. And if you think you know how this story ends, you're dead wrong. Let me paint you a picture of what really went down, because the mainstream wrestling media is too scared to tell you the truth. They're too busy protecting their corporate relationships to admit that WWE just orchestrated one of the most emotionally devastating storylines in recent memory. Roman Reigns, the man who carried WWE through the pandemic, who elevated the Universal Championship to legendary status, who built the Bloodline into the most dominant faction in modern wrestling, that same Roman Reigns was left lying in a pool of his own blood by the very people he called family. Solo Sikoa didn't just turn on Roman. He didn't just betray his cousin. He methodically, brutally, and with surgical precision dismantled everything Roman had built. And Cobb, the man who was supposed to bring fresh energy to the Bloodline. He stood there and watched it happen like it was just another day at the office. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment decision. This was calculated. This was planned. This was a coup that's been months in the making, and we were all too blind to see it coming. But here's what's going to make you absolutely furious: the signs were there all along. Every single week, Solo was positioning himself as the true leader of the Bloodline. Every single week, he was making decisions without consulting Roman. Every single week, he was treating the tribal chief like yesterday's news. Remember when Solo brought Cobb into the family without Roman's approval? We all thought it was just Solo being proactive, showing initiative. Wrong. It was Solo building his own army, recruiting soldiers who were loyal to him, not to the Bloodline legacy. Remember when Solo started calling his own shots in matches, ignoring Roman's strategic advice from ringside? We thought it was character development, showing Solo's growth as a performer. Wrong again. It was Solo establishing his independence, proving he didn't need Roman's guidance or approval. And Cobb, the man who came from New Japan with a reputation for loyalty and honor. He was playing the long game from day one. He wasn't there to serve the Bloodline, he was there to help Solo destroy it from within. The most infuriating part: Roman trusted them. Roman, the man who built his entire persona on being the smartest person in the room, the ultimate strategist, the chess master, he got played by his own family. Let me break down exactly what happened, because the way WWE presented it on television doesn't even scratch the surface of how devastating this betrayal truly was. The night started with Roman addressing the WWE Universe about the future of the Bloodline. He was talking about legacy, about family, about the responsibility that comes with carrying the Samoan warrior tradition. It was vintage Roman, passionate, articulate, commanding the respect of everyone in the arena. Solo and Cobb were at ringside, nodding along, looking like the loyal soldiers they were supposed to be. But if you watched their body language, really watched it, you could see the tension building. Solo kept checking his watch. Cobb kept glancing at the entrance ramp. They were waiting for something. Then Cody Rhodes' music hit, and what should have been a standard contract signing for their upcoming championship match turned into an all-out war. But here's the thing: Roman was holding his own. He was dismantling Rhodes on the microphone, asserting his dominance, proving once again why he's the head of the table. That's when Solo made his move. Not to help Roman, not to support his cousin, but to strike at the moment when Roman was most vulnerable, most exposed, most trusting of the people around him. What happened next will haunt Roman Reigns for the rest of his career. Solo didn't just attack Roman, he systematically broke him down, targeting every weakness, exploiting every vulnerability that only family would know about. The Samoan spike wasn't just a finishing move. It was a statement. It was Solo telling the world that the old Bloodline was dead, and he was its executioner. But even that wasn't enough for Solo. He wanted to send a message that would echo through the halls of WWE for years to come. Jeff Cobb's role in this betrayal was perhaps even more sickening. This man, who had been welcomed into the family with open arms, who had been given opportunities he never would have received without Roman's endorsement, stood there and watched as Solo destroyed the very foundation of everything they claimed to represent. But Cobb didn't just watch, he participated. When Roman tried to fight back, tried to show the heart of a true champion, Cobb cut him down with a brutality that was shocking even by WWE standards. This wasn't just a heel turn, it was character assassination. And the worst part, the crowd was eating it up. They were cheering for the destruction of one of the greatest characters in WWE history. They were celebrating the end of an era without understanding what they were losing. But here's what really makes this betrayal so infuriating: Solo's motivation isn't just about power or championship gold. It's about jealousy. It's about years of living in Roman's shadow, years of being seen as the other member of the family, years of watching Roman get all the opportunities while he was relegated to enforcer duty. Solo convinced himself that he was the one who deserved to be the face of the family. He convinced himself that Roman had been holding him back, that Roman was threatened by his potential. And maybe, just maybe, there was some truth to that. But what Solo doesn't understand, what he'll never understand, is that being the tribal chief isn't just about winning matches or holding championships. It's about carrying the weight of an entire legacy, representing not just yourself but generations of Samoan warriors who came before you. Roman understood that responsibility. Roman embraced that burden. Roman made sacrifices every single day to honor that legacy. And Solo just wanted the glory without the responsibility, the power without the accountability. Jeff Cobb's motivation is even more transparent. He's an opportunist who saw a chance to align himself with what he thought was the winning side. He doesn't care about Samoan pride or family honor. He cares about his own career advancement, and he was willing to destroy a legendary faction to get it. The fallout from this betrayal is going to reshape WWE for years to come. Roman Reigns, the man who has been the company's top star for nearly a decade, now finds himself in the most vulnerable position of his career. He's not just dealing with the loss of his family, he's dealing with the loss of his identity. The Bloodline was more than just a faction for Roman. It was his legacy, his contribution to WWE history, his way of honoring his family's wrestling tradition. Solo and Jeff Cobb didn't just betray Roman, they destroyed his life's work. But here's what's going to make you absolutely furious about WWE's handling of this situation: they're going to use this betrayal to push Roman into a sympathetic babyface role. They're going to expect us to forget about years of Roman's heel dominance and suddenly cheer for him because he got betrayed by his family. That's not how storytelling works. That's not how character development works. You can't just flip a switch and expect the audience to completely change their emotional investment in a character. Roman Reigns built his recent legacy on being the calculating, dominant heel who would do anything to maintain his power. Now WWE wants us to feel sorry for him. This betrayal represents everything that's wrong with modern WWE storytelling. They build up legendary factions, create emotional investment in family dynamics, and then destroy it all for cheap shock value. They don't care about the long-term implications of their storytelling decisions as long as they get their moment of viral social media buzz. The Bloodline was something special. It was a faction that felt authentic, that honored real family relationships, that brought legitimate cultural significance to WWE programming. It wasn't just entertainment, it was representation for an entire community of wrestling fans who rarely see their heritage reflected in mainstream wrestling. And now it's gone. Destroyed by creative decisions that prioritize short-term shock over long-term storytelling. Destroyed by writers who don't understand the cultural significance of what they're playing with. Destroyed by a company that would rather generate controversy than create meaningful, lasting characters. Solo Sikoa and Jeff Cobb aren't just betraying Roman Reigns, they're betraying everyone who invested emotionally in the Bloodline storyline. They're betraying everyone who saw themselves reflected in this faction. They're betraying the very concept of family loyalty that made the Bloodline special in the first place. But here's what makes me absolutely furious about this entire situation: WWE is going to expect us to just accept this betrayal and move on. They're going to expect us to get excited about Solo's new faction and forget about the emotional investment we had in the original Bloodline. They're going to present Solo as this dangerous, unpredictable force who's more interesting than Roman ever was. They're going to push Jeff Cobb as this unstoppable monster who brings international credibility to the faction. And they're going to expect us to buy into it. But we shouldn't. We shouldn't accept lazy storytelling that destroys established characters for shock value. We shouldn't accept betrayals that don't serve the greater narrative. We shouldn't accept the systematic destruction of one of the most successful factions in WWE history just because creative ran out of ideas. The fans who invested in the Bloodline storyline deserve better. The fans who bought the merchandise, who chanted the catchphrases, who emotionally invested in these characters deserve better. Roman Reigns, who carried WWE through its most challenging period, deserves better. This betrayal is going to have consequences that WWE hasn't even considered yet. Roman Reigns' character may never recover from this systematic destruction. The Bloodline legacy may be permanently damaged. And Solo Sikoa may have just made the biggest mistake of his career. Because here's the thing about betraying someone like Roman Reigns, you better make sure you can finish the job. You better make sure you can handle the consequences. You better make sure you're prepared for the war that's coming. Roman Reigns didn't become the tribal chief by accident. He didn't dominate WWE for years because he was lucky. He earned his position through intelligence, strategy, and an absolute refusal to accept defeat. And now Solo and Jeff Cobb have given him the ultimate motivation for revenge. They've made this personal. They've made this about family. They've made this about everything Roman holds sacred. And that's going to be their downfall. This isn't just a wrestling storyline, it's a betrayal of everyone who believed in the power of family, loyalty, and honor. It's a betrayal of everyone who invested emotionally in the Bloodline's journey. It's a betrayal of the very values that made WWE special in the first place. Don't let WWE get away with this lazy storytelling. Don't let them destroy legendary characters for cheap shock value. Don't let them think they can manipulate your emotions without consequences. Share this video. Comment below with your thoughts on this betrayal. Let WWE know that the fans deserve better than this systematic destruction of everything we hold dear about professional wrestling. The Bloodline deserved better. Roman Reigns deserved better. And most importantly, you deserve better. What are your thoughts on this ultimate betrayal? Are you as furious as I am about WWE's handling of this situation? Let me know in the comments below, because this conversation is just getting started, and WWE needs to hear from the fans who actually care about the characters they're destroying. Don't forget to smash that like button if this breakdown opened your eyes to what really happened. And subscribe to Wrestling News CC because we're the only channel brave enough to tell you the truth about WWE's creative decisions. The Bloodline may be broken, but the truth will always survive. And the truth is that WWE just made one of the biggest mistakes in recent wrestling history. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.